Hello, everybody. I have missed you. I haven't had a chance to do a live event for a while, so I thought I would pop on. It's unannounced, and so if you miss this, don't blame yourself. But I had some stuff that I really wanted to share with you, and some people are coming on. Hello, thank you for coming and joining. Hi, Carol. Hi, boss babe. Hey, it's Laura Jean, Eva Blake. Oh, thank you all for coming on. It's just been a nutty couple of weeks, I guess, for all of us. It just seems that way. I don't know if it's the change in seasons, change in light, holidays, but it's been intense. And so I just wanted to come on and say hello and thank you all so much for continuing to not only support each other, but support me, because I just did actually a podcast interview with someone today, and they were asking me how important I thought support groups were. And I said, I think they're amazing. I just haven't had time to get to one. And the couple that I knew about were at a time when I didn't have any coverage for Ben. So you are all my support group. So hello from Portugal. Oh my goodness. And Georgia. Thank you for saying the green looks beautiful. I appreciate that. Charlotte, North Carolina, Iowa, the Heartland, Lori in Vermont. Hello. Thanks everybody for popping on. As I said, this was unannounced, but I really wanted to just connect with you all because the live just feels better, So hi from Syracuse, California. Oh my gosh, hello Connecticut and Sacramento. Then the Netherlands. My goodness, it's amazing to think about how this community truly does encircle the world, and that's thanks to all of you. You've been so loyal and so patient with me because of things that I have promised that I haven't gotten out, but I am excited because I've got some new people lined up to bring on live. Hello from Helsinki, Finland. Oh my goodness, New Jersey, Brooklyn, England, Florida, sending good vibes. Thank you from New Jersey. We were playing a lot of Beach Boys over the weekend. It's one of Ben's favorite groups, and they, remind us of summer. So that was really fun. So where else do we have? Arkansas, Minnesota. Oh, thank you that you love us both. I'm so grateful because being able to share Ben's spirit and his loving nature has meant so much to me. And he really is amazing. He's an amazing guy. He always has been, and he always will be. And this has given me a chance, of course, to process what all of us know is just such a daunting experience. But it really helps me because when I come across resources now, I know it doesn't just stay with me. I get to share them with you too. And just today, I looked up a resource that was actually offered to me by one of our followers, Vivian. Thank you so much. She found a site called the DICE Approach. This is going to be backwards here, so it's not going to help. But it's DICE, diceapproach.com. And there's a free training program on here, but it's all about this particular worksheet that I just printed out. It's how to take a look at some of the behavioral changes that happen in dementia and break them down so you can see what might be going on with your loved one. One of the most challenging things, as we know, in dementia care is that stuff happens and you have no idea what's going on with them. And that's what happened with us a week or two ago. It turns out I think Ben was actually having back pain, but he was running through the house and crashing into walls. And so the natural tendency, of course, is to sedate somebody when they're acting in a way where they might hurt themselves. And yet that can make things worse. This is a wonderful site, and I just am now starting to get into it. As I said, it's called the diceapproach.com, but it gives you a worksheet to start to think through what might be going on with your loved one. Is there something in terms of a change in medication? Is there something in their environment that's bothering them? Is there something physically that might be bothering them? like in this case, it looked like it was Ben's back. It wasn't actually a neurological change. So this looks like a really helpful site for us all, and I'll definitely put it in the description for this video. But again, I just so much wanted to, again, say thank you, and also ask you, what do you need to hear from me about? Or what kind of a conversation would you like to get started? It seemed like some of the comments that were going around recently, we might benefit from a conversation on medications, you know, in terms of what are some of the symptoms that can be helped by medications, and what are some of the symptoms that unfortunately perhaps can't be helped by medications. So that's something that, again, I'm not a doctor. I can only share what my experience has been, but that I think has been what's been so valuable about this community, is sharing our experiences. So thank you for joining. Hello, everybody. Una, Missy, Marie, Allie Brandy, Mrs. Wabi, Chris Kramer. Thank you again for hopping on, because this was unannounced. But I really just wanted to, again, come on and connect and say thank you all for your support. And if you haven't signed up for the newsletter, I'm trying to get it out at least once a week. But that's if you drop your email on my website, www.dementiacoachdiane, you can sign up for the newsletter. And then you'll be the first to know about when I have special guests coming on, when I'm going to do lives, when I have something special planned. And I do actually have a hospice nurse lined up. I'm still waiting for the date, but that's going to be sometime in June, because that's another area that I think there's so little known about in terms of what could hospice possibly do for you and your loved one, because they do not have to be in the last 6 months of life. So I'm happy to say we're going to be bringing her on in June. So my question, when you're able, what are the doctor appointments like, his neurologist? For Ben, first of all, it was really tough to get him many appointments early on. It was, and we didn't actually get a neurologist working with us until he landed in the hospital. It was last year in March of 23 that he unfortunately had a reaction to a medication that his primary care doctor had put him on. And look, this happens, and in Lewy body dementia, they tend to be a little bit more sensitive anyway. He ended up in the hospital again, which is when his neurologist finally actually listened to me, talked to me for like 20 minutes, and he was just whoever was like on that day and assigned to Ben's case. So long-winded answer to your question, but he did see Ben in the hospital, and then because it's difficult, because Ben moves so much and it's difficult for him to sit quietly in a doctor's office and wait, we've been doing telehealth visits for the past year, which has seemed to be fine because his symptoms haven't changed. But his doctor's leaving the practice, so we're actually going to have our last visit with him in person, so I'll be able to tell you more after June 4th. And again, if other people could put in the comments to this video perhaps what your neurologist visits have been like, that would be helpful. Certainly, as I said, I believe that everyone who is going through neurological changes needs a neurologist. If you've only been working with a primary care physician up to this point, I'm not saying they can't get you started on medications, but you know, it was really Ben's neurologist that was so helpful. And when we had this mini crisis the other day and he was going through something that I think ended up being his back pain, it was his neurologist that helped me think through it and decide how to treat it. So thank you for that question. That's a super one. And please, if there's any other questions that I can answer today, that would be super. Thank you for joining. We've got more people coming. Neurologists don't care, no warm and fuzzy manner. You know, it can feel that way. Ben's neurologist, the one that's unfortunately leaving the practice, he is actually warm and fuzzy. He is the sweetest guy. So it's so easy to make assumptions about everything when we're scared, when we're having challenges. We never really know what's going on with somebody else. So try not to walk into an appointment assuming that they're not going to be kind, because They can be. They really can be. We're starting telehealth for mom's next appointment. It's getting too difficult to go in person. It's hard in a rural state area without options. That's why, at least if you're in state, it might help to see if you can get a hold of a neurologist that's willing to do the telehealth appointments. They've been enormously helpful. He actually stays on with me for like 45 minutes. I mean, Ben's, zooming back and forth in the background, but it's been very helpful. So that is actually an option. And at least, again, you could talk through what the options are and what the possible side effects are, what you want to look for. Because Ben was on a medication that actually included like restless leg syndrome, and he's already restless, and it got awful, So the neurologist dropped the ball with my sister. She spent 3 months in a psych ward. Not till she fell. This is, I wish I had a magic wand, of course, and I don't. I can really only share my experience and get conversations started. I will say that we are in a much better place than we were in last year. So if your loved one is on some medications and they don't seem to be helping, I will say, see if you can try something different and give it a shot, because, I've talked to some of you that, like, the very medications that Ben is on, your loved one did terribly on, and vice versa. So the only thing I will say is try not to give up. Try not to get too discouraged. You need to kind of keep coming back on it and persevering. But as I said, we're at the point now where Ben, he sleeps. His appetite is tremendous. He drinks a ton of water. He's very active. So far, we can manage that, and I'm grateful for it. So, yes, in terms of getting some help as well, I know that there are so many of you out there that are exhausted, and it makes it very, very hard, I know, to think through good options when you're exhausted. If there's any way you can consider getting some help so you can get a good night's sleep, that's my number one go-to form of self-care. I don't care what it costs. And I've mentioned this before, but in case you missed it, there are students, like nursing students, if there's any kind of a college or university close by, kids, could stay up at night and be with your loved one if you just need to make sure they're safe, or they just maybe need some help changing. Try to open your mind to the possibilities, because I know that when you feel overwhelmed and you're exhausted, it feels like the world is like coming in on your head. Once I started to at least get some sleep and know Ben was safe, it changed my world and my ability to take care of him. Yes, Chris, it is a neglected area. In fact, as I said, I was just interviewed today for a podcast, and I'm certainly going to do whatever I can to be an advocate for dementia caregivers in particular, caregivers certainly in general, because nobody knows how hard it is unless you've walked this journey. There are, state programs, but not a lot of federal programs. You can apply for grants in some places, you can in others. I can't apply for any help because I'm Ben's wife. Like, you could, if he was my son, I could get some help, but I can't as his wife. I'm like, I don't get that, so it is an under-resourced area. And I know a number of you have said that you've gone to your physicians and they don't tell you anything in terms of support groups or possibilities for daycare centers. So it does end up being something that we end up having to do on our own. That's why, believe me, any resource that I find, I will share with you. And thank you for the rest of you that are joining. This was an unplanned event, so I really appreciate those of you that are popping on, because what I really wanted to do was hear from you in terms of what would be helpful and what would really support you in some of the areas where you're struggling the most. Palliative care, yes. I'm actually going to have a hospice nurse come on live, and I'll announce that through my newsletter. So if you haven't signed up for it, please do. Drop your email into the website. It's www.dementiacoachdiane.com, and you'll be the first to know when I have some live events planned. But I really wanted to bring on someone who's been there and can talk about both palliative care and hospice care for our loved ones. I did actually have a hospice nurse come and evaluate Ben. All I needed was a recommendation from his primary care physician, which he easily gave me. They don't have to be in the last 6 months of their life. And they have resources for both your loved one and for you as the caregiver. And if your loved one is at the point where, they're perhaps bedridden, but you still can't sleep, there are ways that they can help you both. So every case is different, so I don't want to go into too much more detail, but at least see if you can get an assessment from a hospice nurse. And as I said, the process was just that I called Ben's physician, I got a recommendation from his doctor, I used Bayada Nurses, it's a local nursing organization, and they were lovely. They sent a nurse out within a day or two to do an assessment. So thank you, the rest of you that are joining. As I said, this was just an impromptu live at 5 that I wanted to do, and because I so much wanted to share this one resource, as I said, that I just found this amazing website that gives you something called the DICE approach to helping to evaluate your loved one if there are some behavioral changes or some things that are just really confusing and you're not sure how to approach it. The DICE stands for Describe, Investigate, Create, and Evaluate. And there's a really nice worksheet that you can download, and it just helps you to think through what might be going on with your loved one, because they can't tell you most of the time. That's what happened with me just a week or so ago with Ben. Turns out I think he was having back pain, but I didn't know if it was a neurological change or something going on with him physically, something in the environment, a medication adjustment, perhaps that was needed. So these look like some really good resources, and they're free, which is awesome. So, and by the way, I'm not going to bring anybody live in this particular video because I'm going to have to go downstairs pretty soon and take care of Ben again. He's been with a care partner for a little bit, so I could get some work done in my office. But I will announce my next live at 5 so that if you want to come on live, be ready for it, because I would love that. I love it when you come on live with me and share your story, because oh my gosh, we're all in this together, and I know for myself it's really, really helped to share some of the things I'm going through. I so appreciate, again, your comments. But please, in the comments to this video, if you would, give me some topics that you'd like me to get started on in terms of some conversations. Anybody that you'd like to see live. As I said, we had, if you missed it, Catherine Golden from a cannabis-trained nurse did a live session on May 14th. You can find that in the back reels on my page. And then I have a hospice nurse coming in June, but I really want to find out who else you'd like to hear from. So Sally is joining, the Pug's mom is joining, Winkler, Woford, Jean, thank you all for popping on. Gotta run. Thank you, Grandma. Thank you for joining. And as I said, I'm going to have to run soon too. But listen, just God bless you all. Hang in there. It can, I know, on any given day, feel like you can feel like doom and gloom, one moment, and the next minute, hopefully, you can be laughing about something absurd that happened. I mean, that day that I found the coleslaw in the washer, I'm looking in the washer going, what is that? What is that stuff? And, it gave me a much needed laugh that took me through the rest of the day. So let's all, as I said, try to just remember, at least from my point of view, there's a creator that loves us, that actually has a good sense of humor, that wants us to find the resources that we need. I'm going to do whatever I can to share what I find. Please do the same. I thank you all for commenting and supporting each other the way you have been, because as much as I would love to, there's no way I can answer all the comments, but I do read them all. So you're all in my hearts every day. And the support that I get just by popping on even for a few minutes and checking out who's on there, what you're going through, it just really, really helps. So once again, I'm going to say the DICE approach, let me just double check the website. I think it's dice.org. Yeah, DICE approach, I'm sorry, diceapproach.com, DICE, diceapproach.com. It looks like a wonderful online training resource, free for dementia caregivers. So that's a resource I just found, and I'll share with you anything else that I find as well. So thank you all for joining me. I'm going to have to pop off again. God bless you. I'm hoping to go live again on Friday. If I can, I'll send out some notice ahead of time, because I'd love to bring some more of you on live with me. That's the best. Then I don't have to keep hearing the sound of my own voice. God bless you. Thank you. You take care. Hang in there. You know what I'm going to say? We got this. But together we truly are stronger. Thank you. Bye for now.